live. Hey everybody, it's Immortals Inc. podcast. How you doing? This is Carlos Robles back here again on what's today? Tuesday. We're going to talk about some new stuff. We're going to talk about some paranoia, and we're going to talk about nothing really.
Hopefully we'll have plenty to talk about.
Joining me again is Nate, as always. Nate Elwood.
How y'all doing?
And today's episode is going to be about paranoia.
Yes.
But we'll get to that later. Nate, anything new and exciting as far as any games you're playing or anything you got going on?
Still riding the high from the last Warhammer Fantasy roleplay. So glad that Cubicle 7 put that out. I'm liking that a whole lot. I gotta hijack your group one of these nights.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I know. They're so weird. actually, my one friend's neighbor asked when we're gonna play again.
Okay.
So he wants to jump in another one shot. So we could do that. That'd be cool. Yeah, I can't think of. I was just talking about. I got to get that Lord of the Rings fantasy game going. Lord of the Rings miniature game from Games Workshop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll get that going. But yeah, I'm still painting that for the painting contest, which we still have going on until the 15th. You have till the 15th. I think mine's. I should work on that tonight.
Probably. It's good. You don't want to do the 11th hour, but
that's when I do my best work.
Put the pressure on.
Yeah, the pressure's on. I could feel it.
But yeah, anybody out there, come on up, buy a miniature. It's $1 if you buy it in the store, right? And
yeah, it's $1 to get in the
got a great selection. So
60 millimeter under anything GW. Yeah. So
just
that's cool.
I got my kids. They're
did you see the? Magnus Calcum, the head ultramarine guy.
Yes.
Somebody painted it up out there, and it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks.
So that's your bar right there.
Yeah.
So don't get discouraged. Just come on in and try.
Every.
I still take bribes.
It's fun to do anyway. Like I've been enjoying sitting down, teaching my kids. Like this is how you do a base coat. This is how you wash, and
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I don't have any kids now that are that young, but
yeah.
I got to reteach myself that this is a wash, and then I get mad and throw stuff.
I never get mad when I'm painting.
Oh my god, I lose it sometimes.
It's my happy time.
Sometimes I got to walk away. I feel pressure. The 11th hour.
Just put on some Ramones and sit there and let everything else fall down.
Turn on The Simpsons or something. Anyway, what do we got going on now? The latest issue of White Dwarf is out.
Pick it up.
We actually have a file, so if you want to get a file going, we have, 3 or 4 people in it, right? Mm-hmm. 3 or 4 people that actually have a file. We pull the magazine for it. It's kind of like one of those comic book things. But I have to know it so we can get the issues we need. This one seems to be about the assassins.
Yeah, it's got the mini codex in there, so it's more than just your typical White Dwarf magazine. It's actually it looks a little bigger than
yeah, it does look huge for some reason.
As far as like just size wise, but it's going to have
they do have
the small codex in there for the assassins.
I've always liked White Dwarfs. I mean, I've always liked the magazine. It always has the pictures and the articles and all that good nonsense.
They know how to market their stuff, so
yeah, they're really good at it.
And the battle reports. I mean, that's what most people.
I never read or understood battle reports.
Oh, I used to
because I'm not that smart.
When I had a subscription, it comes out every 2 months, so I used to look forward to oh wait, next month is coming out again. So. I used to love reading the battle reports. Still do. They're entertaining.
Oh, they even have an article in here about the Wrath and Glory, the role-playing game.
Oh, cool.
Female Space Marines. Oh, sorry, I got lost. Yeah. Okay, anyway, that's out.
La La Land for a minute.
I know. Judge Dredd Cursed Earth, the card game from Rebellion. Don't know much about it, but I like Judge Dredd. I
remember the role-playing game from way back in the day. I think Games Workshop even might have put that out.
They did for a while. It's a good world. I like it.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new Dredd, the latest Dredd?
The latest Dredd
is the best. Yeah,
I remember the guy. He played
Star Trek.
He played Bones in Star Trek.
Carl Rubin.
Yeah, he played an excellent Dredd. I mean, not to say the pulpy comic book
Stallone.
That was fine for
don't
what it was
you
in the 90s,
blasphemer in here with that version.
Well, yeah,
I was afraid to watch the new Dredd. I'm like, I don't want to watch this. And then I was like,
screw it up. They're gonna screw it up.
I know. I'm like, oh, that is straight out the comic book. I even like the way they started and ended. It's just like
it's dystopian.
Yeah,
perfectly dystopian. It was very nice.
Yeah, it was well done for that. And speaking of dystopian, I don't know if there's a prize though. Resident Evil 2, the board game. Tile-based game. Have you seen anything about this?
No, I haven't. I remember Resident Evil playing it on the platforms, different platforms.
Love it.
And I used to always like there was just something about that game that was just a hoot to play. You know, like dying all the time and having the impossible bosses sometimes. But yeah, it was always fun.
I have a bizarre story about this game. I'm going to try and tell it the best I can. But I had to take some. I took some time where it was like after my first. I had a divorce. And then I spent a lot of time. I had an apartment. It was like a little, I was rebuilding my life.
Yes.
And then I had some work. I took some time off work. It's not so much took some time off work. I just was assigned somewhere else. And Brock, he goes, "Hey, you're bored here. You try this game." And it was when Resident Evil just came out on the PlayStation.
Oh, the original PlayStation.
Yeah, I played in the basement. I was like, yeah, I sat in my little basement apartment. I'm playing Resident Evil all the time. And then my buddy comes over. He goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "You're sitting in the dark just shooting zombies. That's not healthy. Get out." I go, "Okay, I'll get out. I'll go out tomorrow. I promise." So I go out to the mall.
Come out and get drunk with me. That's
no, that's the last thing I want to do is drink. But I went out to the mall. Resident Evil 2 came out that day. I go, "Oh, look at that." I bought it. I went back to my little basement and played it. But ever since then, I've had a love for it. So, yeah, I'd like to see what this is about. But this is here. There's a bunch of supplements that came with it, like huge box sets.
Really?
I'm not going to lie. Price point's a little high. But I got to do a little more research on it. But I know this is one of those things they push out there.
I'm just trying to figure out how they turn the game into a board game. You know what I mean?
I'm going to say it's 1 to 4 players cooperative. So I'm going to say it's like one of those standard tile-based games.
So it's you're playing the game. You're not playing.
Yeah, you're playing against. Yeah,
gotcha.
Or maybe I'd have to.
Hey, who knows? Yeah.
I'll have to look at it more.
If you're a Resident Evil fan, though, let us know. Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. Be like, hey,
that game is terrible.
Yeah, or this game is awesome.
Yeah, that game's
whichever
awesome.
it is.
We prefer awesome.
Yes.
So this little gem, Josh told me about. Some customer came in and pre-ordered this. He pre-ordered it, and it's called Forbidden Lands box set. This looks like a classic old style box set.
Yeah.
It was in a warehouse on the West Coast, and I was like, yeah, I can get it for him. Well, then somehow, I don't know if you've ever shipped anything from the West Coast to the East Coast. It's expensive. So they weren't. I was having trouble going back and forth, and the distributor's website didn't update. And we finally figured it out. I go, just get me it for so I can have it for the customer. I'll pay shipping or whatever. Just get me that for him. He goes, well, I don't know why you just want to get it there. Why don't you get it from the warehouse that's one state over? Well, they didn't update their computer system. I go, what do you mean? And he's like, so I went back and forth. Anyway, I got it in, and I'm like, look at this. But I like this line alone. I'm going to read this. In this sandbox survival role-playing game, you're not heroes sent on missions dictated by others. Instead, you are raiders and rogues bent on making your own mark on a cursed world. You will discover lost tombs, fight terrible monsters, wander the wildlands, and if you live long enough, build your own stronghold to defend. And I'm like, just that got me. I'm kind of curious about this now because I got a whole group of people that fit this.
All anti-heroes.
Yes, and it's there's a large full-color map that gives you freedom to explore the Forbidden Lands in any way you want, hex by hex. And it says a sheet of stickers for adventure sites and gravestones, transferring the game map to the living permanent record of your adventures. So I think it's like an open sandbox you can build yourself. But it looks really good, really nice, high quality. I'm hoping that the guy, when he comes picks it up, will open it up for me so I can see it. Well, this is a copy we have for store. We have his set aside. And then this is their adventure module. This is their first one.
Oh, I thought it was a novel.
No, it's Forbidden Lands. I didn't even put a price sticker on this because I hate putting price stickers on books or something that it's nice. It is really well done. It reminds me of very much of like Conan or something like that. And all those classics. So I'm hoping it's a good game. It's from Modifius. Vampire guys. Those guys are really coming around. Fallout 2. Yeah, they did Fallout 2. I think they're trying to make their mark in the role-playing world. So we'll see. So that brings us to, after all that nonsense, is the game we're talking about, which I sold out of, by the way. Oh. So I'm going to have to get more in. Sorry.
There we go.
Paranoia. Nate, take it away.
Right. So, Paranoia. Now, for the old-time role players out there, you've probably heard of Paranoia, if not played Paranoia. It originally came out, I want to say, early 80s.
West End Games.
Yeah, West End. They used to make a Star Wars role-playing game back in the day.
Yes.
Paranoia is a... you play a troubleshooter, which means you find trouble and you shoot it. So, it's a dystopian future. It's set in the Alpha Complex with the huge megalopolis. And it's all run by a AI computer who is your friend.
Nope.
The computer is your friend. To say it's a a little tongue-in-cheek would be way underestimated. It is a lot of tongue-in-cheek. It's definitely a game that I don't see you. I mean, you could play like a sweeping campaign with it, but it's really meant to be.
Yeah,
it's really meant maybe 1, 2, 3 game sessions, and most of the time the characters are actually stabbing each other in the back. Even the character creation aspect of it is the best game of Screw Your Neighbor you will ever play. The whole point of it is to build a character collaboratively with your group. However, if you take, let's say, a skill at a +1, the person next to you now has to take a skill, that exact skill that you took, at a -1, and you keep doing
really?
it. So you're screwing over the person to your left.
That's
the
new. That's
game.
a new mechanic, yeah.
Unfortunately, then you have to hand your character sheet over to them, and they assign the stats that they want your character to have for stuff. It's a very unique way of building a character. It's a very unique way to really make people role play, to be honest, because you'll have an idea for what you want to make, and then, hey, this guy's going to be a gunslinger, and then the guy next to you is like, yeah, well,
nope.
You know what? You got a -5 in guns. So, yeah, ha, ha, ha. So I mean, it's just in that regard alone, it would be fun to just sit around and sit down with your friends and make these characters.
Not to cut you off, but the setting, it's definitely written in the 80s.
Yes.
The original, and it's based on like the Cold War scare.
Yes.
So basically the computer where you live, the Alpha Complex, is a giant bomb shelter. Supposedly it's run, the computer takes care of all your needs.
Oh, of course, he's your friend.
Well, the computer's a little insane. So he lost
More than a little.
Yeah, he lost his mind somewhere along the lines. And then everybody, I don't know why this came to be. I think there's a couple explaining, but everybody's clones, right?
Yes.
There's no
you actually
procreation.
Start the game with 6 clones.
Yeah.
So you have 6 lives, technically.
That helps you out because, there's number 1 of you through 6. So that way, if the first one fails or passes away unexpectedly, you can continue to live on as clone number 2. Yeah. And it's a sealed system, so you can't go outside.
Right.
And everything's based on different levels of security of having access.
Yes.
Right. It's still. I'm just asking if it's still the same.
Oh yeah, it's still the same.
And it goes by the color spectrum.
Yes.
Roy G. Biv. So red is the lowest clearance, and yellow.
The lowest is ultra violet or infrared. I'm sorry, infrared is the lowest. Like you are just a citizen at the lowest level. Like player characters start with red.
Yeah, that's
the lowest
security clearance you could say.
Security clearance that you could do stuff with.
And it goes up, Roy G. Biv up to yellow, which is whoever. But
it's
or violet. Sorry,
ultraviolet.
When I say yellow, that's the middle.
But it's they still have that involved in it.
I was hoping, but anyway,
the different factions too. You have secret societies.
You have to have it.
You have to have
and it's treason if you have a secret society.
Yes,
right?
you are a treasonous. You're actively. Most of the time, a gaming group will have probably 2, and a game of 5 people. 2 of them will probably, or 3 of them will probably be in a faction that is actively trying to not do the mission that the computer is sending you on to do. So I mean, the game is a lot of stab your friend in the back and just have a good time with. It's just good fun though.
Right. It's not taken seriously.
Fun, right.
Like I guess you could really darken it up and make it a serious thing.
Yeah, but the way the rules are set up, I don't see why you would do that.
Yeah.
You have games to do that with. Why buy
D&D?
Paranoia?
No, I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, honestly, you don't need to buy Paranoia if you want a dark dystopian future. You could buy Shadowrun, and they have rules.
That's true.
Like this is definitely tongue in cheek, and you have. Normally, I'm not a big fan of other than dice or maps or something, but they have cards in this that have equipment on it, and as the GM, you're playing the computer. You kind of hand out these cards before the mission starts, and it's to help them accomplish their goals. So I mean,
let me just
you got grenades and sniper rifles and electric knuckle dusters, and I mean it's pretty straightforward on how to play the game as well. Like the system itself works pretty well. You have what's called the node system, so you basically take a stat and a skill, and you're rolling that many 6-sided dice, and you're trying to get as many successes as you can. And no matter what you do, though, there's a special die called the computer die, and if you roll the computer symbol on that 6-sided die, good but bad things happen. Like the computer literally will take you over, and because the computer will be like, oh, you're not going to fail this mission. This is going to happen, but you start losing other points, and it's done very well. Like I said, it's for what they want it to be, which is almost could be slapstick dystopian future.
Mm-hmm.
It does it extremely, extremely well.
I just remember when it originally came out, I just wonder how it holds up to this modern, because this was based on the whole Cold War bomb shelter deal, and you don't have the same thing you do now. You know, there's no. It's like, oh God, we got to go high. Being a child
of the '80s,
yes.
I remember all of the. You know, I saw Rambo. You know, I know that the Russians were behind all of it. You know, like I remember him taking, you know, Stallone and Rocky. You know, he took on the entire continent in the ring. So you know, like, but yeah, like it still holds up. They still have. Yeah, I mean, your player can be a mutant and have mutant powers, and the secret societies that you belong to. One of them is called Death Leopard, which I always thought was hilarious.
Yeah,
Death Leopard. That's awesome. But it's
the communists or the commies still in there?
Yeah, there's the communists are still in here. Yeah. So it's the mystics and everything. You could spend a lot of time just going over the backstory of it. Mm-hmm. But if you want to play the game, it's better if you don't know it. It's better if only one person knows the backstory, because really, all of it is like you are a troubleshooter and you don't know jack unless you're part of a secret society, and even then you barely know anything. So it's definitely set up as a there's a big gag and you don't know it yet.
Yeah.
But it seems like a hoot to play, to be honest. Just from the rules that I've read, the just creating a character itself, sitting down with 4 people and just having a good time by making somebody, you know, have a -5 in something, and then having to hand that same character sheet over to them, being like, all right, now you get to assign.
Oh, they're not even. They're erasable.
Yes, they're erasable. You will be going through characters in this game.
Oh, that's great.
The mortality rate, I'm sure, is pretty high.
That's great.
So
there's whole 3 stats here. No, 4 stats.
You have violence, brains, chutzpah, and mechanics.
That's all you ever need.
Yes, and I mean you also have a number of clones and what's called moxie points, which are kind of like you can spend moxie points to accomplish different things that need to happen. But once you start losing your moxie points, when you get down to 0 moxie, is when really bad stuff starts to happen. Because during character creation, you have 3 adjectives that you will put on your character sheet.
So this is like your mojo, the moxie?
Kind of. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Like during the creation, you come up with 3 adjectives to describe your character. Let's say heroic, badass, and monstrous. You know, that just descriptions. What's funny is that character, when you hand it over to that person you've just been screwing over during character creation, they get to turn one of those positives into a negative. So all of a sudden you turn into a cowardly, badass,
monstrous.
Yeah, you know, like, so it's definitely meant to be played as fun, just a really enjoyable evening of not really real cerebral, but it is what it is. It's the action cards that you use for combat and everything make it flow really well. Much like All Flesh or the Unisystem, you have a skill and attribute, so it's not a huge amount of math involved. You know, it's not like, you know, you're not calculating THACO or anything like that. So it's done well.
So these are your combat cards, or action cards?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And it breaks down really easily too. I mean, it definitely be a game that could be easily picked up, I think, by pretty much anybody.
From start to finish, could this be like an evening game where nobody, like if you had role players?
If you had people who have role played before, they would be able to pick this up very, very quickly. Even if you didn't have people who role played before, you go through character creation and you could play you could definitely play an adventure in an evening. Character creation and an adventure one evening.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not like you know, Cthulhu, where you're taking hours to create a character, or
So it's a diversion,
right?
A nice diversion.
This is a pickup game.
Like, hey, I don't want to do the D&D game. I don't want to do the Shadowrun. I want to just do something different tonight.
Yeah,
just,
we're a little burnt down on that. Let's do something a little different, and then come back.
Okay, yeah.
And this is definitely
it still makes me laugh that this is it for the character sheet. And it's erasable, so he's dead.
And they even come inside the box itself. You have the player's handbook, which is basically the rules of the game, how to create a character and how combat works, how the node system works, all of that. That's all the players. Then you have the Game Master's Handbook, which gives you all the background for the Alpha Complex, the AI, all the secret societies, and general tips. I think they geared this more towards people who were kind of novice GMs, because it's got a lot of general tips in here on how to run a game, and it doesn't have to just be Paranoid. You can really extrapolate it into just about any other game. It was well written. I'll put it that way. There's a lot of humor in here that still holds up, I think, and it's not overly over the top. Like, what I liked about it the most was they put humor in the books, but they don't just focus on that. Like they focus on the game, but the humor aspect enhances it. Kobolds Ate My Baby, where it was really just this is just a running joke the whole time. Mm-hmm. This is a good game, but we're gonna make it funny too.
That's how the other one took too, and they converge into the old system, the old game. It was just one, it was a running joke, but it was humor throughout the game system. But then there was an underlying seriousness to it, like this is a terrible place.
You could run this as a serious, dark game.
No. But it was underneath all of it that serious. Hey, this is a terrible thing, and you just laugh just so you don't go crazy the whole time. But
laugh so you don't cry.
Yeah.
And the last book that comes in the box set is a mission book. It actually has 3 adventures that link together and pre-generate a character. So you could literally just photocopy these, throw them on a table, and all right, guys, we'll play this game. That's cool. It's a very good box set, to be honest. The books are well written. I like the size of the books too. For some reason, the smaller books that fit on a shelf easy. I like that.
Well, the boxes. Not to be that guy, but I like solid feeling, like this new Forbidden Lands. It's a good.
We're used to that. Not to cut you off. I mean, we were used to, like, if you bought a game system, you bought a box game.
I could store this box, and it would be a load-bearing part of my shelf.
Yes. Things that's how role-playing games used to. I mean, you had the books, but then you had, like, anything new would be in a box.
Like as a collector, sometimes the box is worth more than the contents. Because it's like, hey, I just need the box. I don't need the contents. And I've seen empty boxes go high in auctions just to have them.
I remember I was on eBay and Battle Masters, the old from the 92. Mm-hmm. There was just somebody had an empty box that wasn't broken, and there was bids on it. I mean, people were I get it. I mean, I wouldn't buy a box for $40.
Well,
but I mean,
I may. I've seen Chris, Warzone Chris. Mm-hmm. He'll just buy lots of stuff, and he'll be back there piecing it together. Like, they're all old games, but he's just getting one perfect game together from all and the hardest one's the box, of course.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can remember the games that I used to have, like Hero Quest. Like, that thing got tore up because I was a kid. When it came out, I didn't. Yes. I mean, I didn't have the patience to treat the box well. Like, I took
direct on.
Right, yeah. It went on a shelf with a bunch of other boxes that were smaller, and so it all caves in. Because we all had box sets.
But it's funny that we're talking about the box that much time. But the boxes, to people who don't know, it's. Plus, you can throw this in your bag or your shelf, or carry it with you.
It's in a book bag, really. I mean, it's one of those games, like I said, where it's fun to pick up, it's fun to play. And you can port it, one night. I don't feel like taking 15 reference books with me for our regular game. Here, I got this box. Boom, we'll play this game.
How about the dice? Do they play a big part of it, or just random generators?
It's
there's not a number crunch, I'm assuming.
No, it's not a huge number crunch. It's basically, and what I like about it is the player characters decide what skill and what attribute they're going to use for whatever task, and it's up to the GM to be like, okay, those would work together, or that's kind of funny. Yeah, okay. It's not like the GM's like, oh, you're going to use this skill and this stat to accomplish
Oh, you
that.
have to tell.
As the like,
okay,
I want to accomplish this goal, so let's see. I'm going to use my science and brains. Some stuff would go right together. But,
I immediately went to violence and science, and I'm trying to think, what would you need for that? Like, I'm going to inflate this car tire. I'm going to use science and violence.
There you go.
All right.
Actually, as a GM, I'd be like, that's creative. That's a good idea.
I'm going to manually.
I know how to get that.
Yeah. Just start whacking at it.
But I lost my train of thought there. Oh,
I think dice was the last thing I had.
The
number
dice,
cruncher.
yes.
And
So it's not a lot of number crunching. It's not a lot of huge amounts of cerebral gaming. This is just a fun game. Just pick it up, have a good time with it. And for what is it? I think it's $50.
$49.99.
$44.99.
It's right up there around there.
It's for $50, you get a complete game system, and if you're not looking to like make this the game you play, it's even if you only play it like 4 or 5 times, still $50 for a fun game.
It is because I got them in and I'm out, so I got to order some more.
And
but
it's been around since the 80s.
Yeah.
It's in the role playing game Hall of Fame. In the Origins role playing game Hall of Fame. I think that was 07 it got in there.
Is that like a real thing?
It is. Yeah.
I should look up the history of it. We should maybe go down there and talk to those people or something. We should do cooler stuff.
Origins is in our backyard.
I know,
a lot of people don't realize it's Columbus. For us, it's a 2-hour ride. There's people who flying from Europe, so
I'm kind of nerd famous down there, as Josh would tell you.
Nerd famous. Huh?
Every time we go down there,
they have your picture like this man is not allowed in.
No, not that bad. It's pretty bad. Maybe I've been a nerd too long, and maybe I've been.
There's no such thing as being a nerd too long.
I don't know, but that's cool. Yeah, we'll have to. I totally got off. But yeah, it's Role Playing Hall of Fame. That's where we got off track there. But yeah, the old stuff it's got the classic artists too from a lot of D&D. Mm-hmm. The D&D artist. What's that guy's name? Holy crap! I'm gonna disservice him right now. But anyway, he did a lot of the original artwork, which his stuff was always humorous to begin with.
Right.
And then it just added to it. And I see that they try to do that with this, the humor artwork for it. So yeah, it's there. And I can see some reproductions of his original stuff in there. So
it's cartoony enough to make it, but it's it does have a dark side to it.
Yes, it does. It does.
It's definitely more.
And their games, if you actually read them, they're very dark. The humor is very dark in the adventures, and they had there's a whole bunch of supplements and the core box and everything like that. It's a really good fun time. And
I'm pretty sure they will support this game.
No, they do. They have a lot. Like when I reorder, like I just got the core stuff, the core boxes, and I'm out. So I'm going to reorder. I'm going to get the core boxes and their supplements, so we'll have a line of it. So
yeah, because it's never. I didn't play the old game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you were like, "Hey, let's do the Paranoia," I'm like, "Oh, okay." I've always wanted to see that. Like, in reading through what they had, I was excited. Like, it was a page turner for me. I mean,
it's good stuff. And it's good stuff.
It's not a huge 600-page book that you have to read. Like, this is exactly what you need to do to run this game.
I think, and I was glad because I think it was like last week or it was a short notice. I said, well, let's do this game. And then I know the books were small. I'm like, all right, he should be able to digest that, even though he reads giant. Is it amazing? I give him I don't think I used to think Nate didn't read them and he just kind of Googled it or something, but then he comes in his extensive knowledge. And I'm like, well, he's reading that whole book. Yeah. I'm like, oh, he's reading that whole. It'd take me 6 months to get through that.
I read the back of that.
But I enjoy the fact that you do read these and you give us a good spiel on it.
To be honest, if people are listening to this and they're like, well, because I remember it is an investment. You only got so much expendable money. Mm-hmm. And if somebody gives a good review on something and they're not doing it just to give a good review on something, then it's worth it to me to do it. I like reading, so
yeah. Well, I like to because I don't want to sell anybody
crap.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I can't bring myself to make you buy something that I wouldn't buy or I don't want to have, or sometimes you got to eat it. Like you get something in, it's going to cool and it's not, and you're like, well, I guess it goes on sale. I'm not going to make you do it.
Make
I
me
don't
an
know
offer
anything
table.
about it. Yeah, then make me an offer table. We had that big. It's about probably around Christmas time. We'll have another one of those. Let's see. Make me an offer table because the stuff just didn't go.
Not every game is a home run.
No, And even like even the ones that aren't still have some good ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the olden days where you printed something, a lot of people went through it before it made it to print. So there was effort. Now you have print on demand, and anybody can just pretty much make a book. And
I mean, you have maybe an oversight of a couple of people. Like you have to have somebody be like, yeah, I'll publish that. Like
but sometimes it's like, ugh. I don't know how many books I've picked up, read 3 pages, and I'm like, I'm done. And it's like, sadly, it's true. But I'm glad that you liked it and everything. So I'll get some more in. Anything bad or negative part about it? Do you think that?
Like as far as negativity goes, as much of a hoot of a game it would be, and I use that word hoot. I don't know why. I think it's my daughter's.
You've used it a few times now.
Yeah. So it's not my personal style of game though, because I like the more cerebral, dark games.
The long term.
Yeah, okay. I like that type of thing, but that's just my personal opinion. Like.
So knowing that you're going to invest the time to read it, knowing it's not going to be a long term thing, it might be a once in a while thing. Or, okay.
I'll put it this way.
It's still fun to read, right?
Oh yeah. Okay. I mean, it's humorous too. Like that they put in little jokes here and there that are relevant to the game and are funny. So it's not just focused on this is complete funny. This is like it's very dry, dark humor, and I like that about it.
I just thought of something funny. I said, Josh, if we ever decide to run this at the store one day, can you put this giant eyeball on all the computer screens outside and everything? Come in dressed up
because the computer's your friend.
Yeah, I'm your friend.
Well, and the mechanics to it are cool too, because you spend your experience points during the game to give your character upgrades. Like you download stuff from the cloud from the computer to help you out. Like, man, I need night vision right now. So you go to the app store in your brain and download it.
Oh, really? That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. So they've updated from the 80s version where the technology is so much obviously.
Oh yeah, it was. For what it was then, it was right. Good, but now it makes sense.
Like in the first Shadowrun, they had fax machine wristwatch.
Yeah.
Now look at what it is. It's like as technology evolves, they're like, all right, well, so the future technology is gonna be crazy too. So
ooh, future.
But yeah, it's a well put together game. It's obviously the people who did it love the original game. You can always tell when somebody likes what they're doing because it comes out in not only their writing but how they take care of it and how they organize the books too. It flows really well.
You have to give respect to it, and you liked it that much that you wanted to keep it the way it was. That made it enjoyable for you, but you don't want to ruin it or spin it too far from. I shouldn't say ruin it. Maybe you make it better, but you don't want to spin too far from the original. Because
if you ever get a role playing book, and this happened with a few that I've looked at before, where it's has no rhyme or reason to the way they lay it out. Mm-hmm. You're flipping from here to here to here to here to here. Like that was just they had this group editing and doing this part, this group editing and doing this part, this group editing. and doing this
no
part,
follow through or no.
That's what it felt like. I can't say that's exactly how it happened, but that's how it feels. It's like you can definitely tell it's disjointed. This is my editing work that I have to do, and then when my section's done, here you go. Okay, we'll slide that one.
But not the case in this, right?
No, this reads.
I know what you're saying.
Really well.
Yeah. There's some games. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, you're creating a character and you have to go from this page to this page to this page to this page, and instead of it all being like, here you go, a lot of pre-thought goes into it, and that only happens when the people enjoy what they're doing.
Oh, that's cool. So you'd recommend this for sure?
Yeah, I would recommend this to
not for the long term, but for a short game and just for fun.
Not for a novice, because let's face it, if you're a novice and you're just getting into role playing, you want something that you are going to kind of fall in love with, as far as like everybody has that first game where you played it for years and years. So this is if you're brand new to role playing, don't pick up Paranoia just yet. Find that game that you really, really like, whatever it may be.
Could you
play? And then pick this up as a in between when you're like, I still love my game, but I just need something different. I don't want to play Joe the Barbarian.
If you never played, would this be okay for somebody who never played? Like, say,
if you're running it for somebody,
yeah,
yes,
okay,
yes, you could definitely sit
down. So,
you
can bring like a friend or your other half
as an introduction.
Whatever. Yes. Yeah. Good introduction. If you have somebody running it that knows what they're doing, good introduction to a player. Yeah,
it'd be okay. That would work. But then again, this is if you want to introduce somebody to what role playing is, probably not. If you want to introduce somebody who's role played before into just something more fun, Yes.
Oh.
Like this, I think this game is meant for role players to just have fun. You know what I mean? Like that's the vibe that I get from it. I don't. It's definitely not just like
okay. That
you've
makes
never
sense,
played this game before. You've never role played before. Here, let's play this tongue in cheek.
So it wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't fit. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, we probably wouldn't get the true role playing experience.
I don't see this as a beginner's game.
Yeah, the beginning role playing.
Like you can bring somebody in. Like let's say you had your regular group and you brought somebody in just to play this game for that little tongue in cheek part of it, or just to show them what role playing is kind of like, but not really. Like I could see that, but like. The vibe that I get from it, at least, or the way I interpret it is, this game is for role players. This is for people who've been around the block more than a few times, and they just want to have just a fun. I don't care what happens to my character. I mean, I got 6 clones to deal with. Like, just I'm gonna stab my friend in the back. You know, that's
what number
the
you
type
on?
of game it is, right? Like, well, you know, because it is so. It's not cooperative. I mean, it's a competitive thing amongst your
co-op. Yes,
you know, like you, this guy's from this faction, this guy's from this faction, and you might have to steal the equipment from your fellow player, or literally kill your fellow player. So it's definitely a game that if you're an experienced role player and it's a role player's role playing game.
Oh yeah, it is a Rick and Morty episode. I just remember like one of the adventures we played one time was, I think it was in the old books, but it was like if you're like you're red troubleshooters, so you're lowest end.
Yes.
They tell you need to go to this orange hallway and paint it green.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, well, you can't go in the hallway because you're not high enough, right. And you're not supposed to have the orange paint because you're not high enough clearance. So, but if you don't do it, the computer's going to terminate you.
Right.
So now you have to figure out, in between, and it's
that is a perfect example.
Yeah, all you had to do is paint a hallway, and the next thing
at the same time, you got one of your guys in the group is part of the mutant coalition. Yeah, the whole reason he's doing it is that so the mutants can run through there.
Yeah,
you know, that's the type of game it is.
And and then it usually ends in a gunfight somehow.
Yes. Well, everybody has you have 2 pieces of equipment. You have your red jumpsuit and your red laser pistol. That's it. That's all you get.
God bless you.
You get other equipment from the equipment stack, but that is it. And your red laser might not even be. It won't be strong enough to shoot through somebody.
Yeah,
like
higher blues armor.
Right.
It's classic.
It's really good. It's very tongue in cheek, very fun. But my take on it, like you're saying, this is a role playing game for role players. You can bring somebody new into it and whatnot, but this is a breakaway game for the already gamer.
Nice.
But it is a fun game. It is fun. Just reading character creation was great. I'm like, oh, this would be so fun to just put 5 people down and screw your neighbor the whole time.
That's fine. All right. Well, that's cool. All right. Well, I'll get some in and we'll have some more. And it's good for that. I can't think of anything else on it. What do you want to do next week?
That's a good question. We gotta check the shelves comment. Put it in a comment. If anybody listens to it, put it in a comment. Be like, hey, can you guys review this game?
Email podcast.immortalsinc@gmail.com.
We might not listen to you, but no.
If you want to hear something,
I
want to
hear
see
what people
something,
want.
I got to make a Facebook group. I think that would be the easiest thing. So let's just do that.
If you like my opinion, because that's all it is, people. Like, it's just my opinion. Don't take this as gospel, please.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I'm gonna start a fight. Oh my God. I hate this game. No, but I think we're gonna make Josh. Let's just make a Facebook group.
Sure.
I think I said that 2 weeks ago and I didn't. I'm so dumb. I think I get sidetracked with everything else that goes on.
No.
You
just don't want to put any effort into this.
Yeah, I don't care about this place. I'm so tired of everything. Everything sucks. No, I'm kidding. I spilled a Pepsi everywhere and randomly find a hairdryer under. I spilled a Pepsi earlier and I'm crawling under the table trying to clean it up and there's a random hairdryer box. And I'm like yelling at Josh. I'm like, why is there a hairdryer box underneath this table? And he's like, And when we had the painting contest, they had the speed painting.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not me climbing under something under the podcast table when there's a hairdryer. Like,
see, I thought you were.
What's going on in here?
I thought you were messing with me when you said there's a hairdryer under here. I thought you were just.
Come on, man.
I'm like, who puts a hairdryer in? All right.
Whatever. No. That's my point, right?
It's not for me, that's for damn.
It's a paranoia adventure going on right now. All right, guys. Well, if you want to get a hold of us, give us a call at 216-712-7169. We are going to make that Facebook page and group.
All right.
And we'll be there. Email us at podcast.immortalsinc@gmail.com. Josh has finally got immortalsinc.com up. That's all you got to put. Immortalsinc.com. We're there. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter.
All the social media platform fun.
Instagram, all that good nonsense. And we are there.
And you guys check it.
Yes.
So that's a big plus.
When you say you guys, it's mostly Josh, my wife Diana.
Somebody from Immortals checks it.
Somebody's in there touching stuff. I don't know what's going on.
Don't say it like that.
Okay.
That could be lawsuits there.
All right. Well, somebody's monitoring stuff.
There we go. All
somebody's watching you.
The
computer is watching you. But all right, guys. Well, till next week or 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. See you again in 2 weeks. Later.